Hello and welcome to Delta College Impact. I'm Roger Waller, your host for today's program, and we're on location. We're here at Clever Planetarium on the campus of San Joaquin Delta College, and joining me for today's program is Tim Cox, Director of the Planetarium, among other duties here at Delta College. Tim, welcome back.
Thank you.
It's great to be here at Clever Planetarium on location. The last time we talked about it, we were in the studio, and we've now come out so that the people at home can start to see some of the great features that you have here at Clever. And behind us is one of the neat features, and this is Herman. Herman is what?
Herman is our Spitz 512 prime sky telescope. Well, not so much telescope, but we could reproduce the prime sky here in the planetarium, whether it's weather permitting or not. We have the top part of the ball has 600 small holes in it that reproduce the skies that you would see overhead, the constellations and so forth. So we could study the constellations, the sky, whether it's today or even 2,000 to 3,000 to 5,000 years behind us, or into the future, so we can see how the heavens shift and change over the millennium.
And the great thing is, it never gets cloudy here at Clever Planetarium.
That's
inside the dome. Now, Tim, one of the things I know a lot of people have heard the name George H. Clever Planetarium. Who is George H. Clever, and how did we ever get a planetarium here at Delta College?
Well, George Clever was the founding president of San Joaquin Delta College when the district was formed in 1963. He was very interested in astronomy. He lived in Tracy, where he was a rancher, and his mission, he said, was to have a planetarium in this campus. And it was part of the first building that was built, Cunningham Center. That building was constructed in 1972, and to this date, this is the only planetarium in the central San Joaquin Valley, serving from Yuba City to Fresno.
Now, one of the things I guess that we're also interested in is how come we got one here at Delta College from the standpoint of funding. Does it come from the state to fund Clever Planetarium?
Well, when this building was built, we had sold bonds in the late 70s, and this was included in that master building plan. The cost then was probably maybe $100,000 to build the facility that you see here today and to buy this particular instrument. Replacement cost of everything that we have now would be well over $1 million just for this room.
Terrific. Well, let's go take a little short walk over to some of the chairs here and show our audience a little bit more about Clever Planetarium and really some of the new features here in Clever Planetarium. Now, Tim, I've been here both pre and post chairs, and obviously it's a lot better now. What's caused the change in these new chairs? For those of you who haven't been at Clever recently, I think you'll notice a great change in the seating.
Well, originally the planetarium was designated as a classroom. This is really designed for public shows. As such, we had concentric tables with chairs that kind of moved around in many different directions. There was really no focus. The chairs were short-backed, made of fiberglass, not much different than a fiberglass bucket seat you'd see in a street ride. And it was really painful for any kind of a long-term program to sit and watch the stars. You know, after about 10, 15, 20 minutes, you begin to get a little neckache. And people said, gee, we had a great time at the planetarium, but call us when you get some better chairs. And we began looking 10 years ago for a source for better chairs, and there just wasn't anything available. So we began working with a special contractor in the Bay Area who designed the chairs that you see today. We had them built in Mexico City. Just as NAFTA became popular and passed Congress and so forth, this is our first NAFTA product here at Delta College.
Now, one of the things that we can see is they're certainly a lot more comfortable than the old chairs. And I guess when I lean back and I look straight ahead, they work great. But how about looking at the dome? What do we do about that?
Well, that's the best part of the whole thing. You just reach to your right here, pull up the little lever, and then lean back, and you're ready to watch whatever we put on the dome.
You know, that is great, and it's like I need one of these in my living room. This is very comfortable and really a nice thing to see as far as improving the planetarium. Now, one of the things when you talk about improving the planetarium, you've put on in the past a lot of unique shows here at Clever Planetarium. What are some examples of the unique things you put on?
Well, we originally started with presenting star shows. I mean, that's what a planetarium does. And found that, you know, people were fascinated, but they also wanted other things. So we began to diversify some of our programs. We've offered live drama under the dome. This year we're going to be offering something called Audiosphere, which is musical concerts with live performances under the dome. We have, over the years, purchased additional equipment, the hemispheric projection system, the video projection system. 2 years ago we purchased a laser projection system. So we started off with what we talked about earlier, the Spitz 512, where that's the only thing we had. And so we had that and a slide projector. Now we have probably 50 different pieces of equipment that do a multitude of different things to try to broaden our horizons for the interests of a very diverse population.
And I know serving that population is really one of the keys. How many people actually visit Clever Planetarium during a year?
We're averaging about 20,000 people a year. Many of those folks come to us as part of school groups during the weekdays when we offer educational programs to anywhere from kindergartner to high school classes, because no other facility has an astronomy function like we do. We offer those programs between our college classes, and so we bring people in from elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, and then we offer the public shows on the weekends.
Now, one of the things I know is we've talked about these chairs and serving this 20,000 population of people who come to Clever. How do we get the chairs funded?
Well, that's really an interesting way of doing things. With this day and age of funding shortages, we put together a program where we brought the chairs to the campus. We have sold 2/3 of the chairs that you see here. This room now holds 60 chairs. We've sold 40 to individuals and businesses in our community. And for their kindness in supporting our program, they get free programs for life.
Oh, that sounds great. And talking about some of those programs, we're going to be taking another walk back to take a look at some more of the features here at Clever Planetarium. Tim and I have moved back to Herman here to talk a little bit more about some of the features here at Clever Planetarium. But before we do that, I wanted to go back and talk with Tim about the chair, because I know organizations and individuals can sponsor a chair here at Clever that will help put on the programs as well as maintain the facility. How do you go about doing that?
Well, it's very simple. We have had 40 individuals and organizations within our community, business and industry as well, purchase a chair. We put their name on the chair and with a brass plaque, and they get free shows for life for their organization or the individual. That means that all season long they can see any of our shows. If it's an organization, they can choose to use tickets, or they can have a picnic at the planetarium and bring the entire organization family and just have a great time in here and see whatever kind of show they'd like to see.
That sounds great. And it really, later in the program, you're going to see a telephone number posted to get in contact with Clever Planetarium Ticket Office, talk about buying tickets for shows as well as sponsoring a chair. Now, Tim, let's get back to Herman. Looks like quite a contraption or gizmo or whatever else you'd want to call it. But how's Herman work, and what's the big ball, and what's all this stuff about good old Herman here?
Well, good old Herman. This is our Spitz 512 Prime Sky projection system. Basically, it reproduces the night sky from any point on our globe, from any point of time, thousands of years back, thousands of years into the future. For instance, we were talking here earlier, we could reproduce the night sky that Columbus saw when he discovered the New World.
So we can go back to 1492, and could you put me in the Caribbean as Columbus would be approaching wherever he approached?
Wherever he came from whatever point on that particular point, whether it's on land or on ocean. We dial in through the console a series of codes and numbers, and it automatically sets the Prime Sky projection system to that particular location in the world at that particular hour, and then we turn on the starlights, and that's what we would see.
And the nice thing is these shows are projected here on our ceiling, so we can come in and watch them if you sign up for a Delta College astronomy class or something like this. Now, what's the big ball all about?
Well, this is the real guts of the program. On an average night, an individual can see about 6 million stars overhead. We can reproduce about 600 stars on the dome. A lot of the stars that we see in the night sky are so faint that they're barely visible. But we have the prime stars located in through perforations in this particular ball, and we can reproduce it. It's a little like having a telescope indoors in a box, and it projects it on the ceiling, and it's a wonderful way to learn about astronomy.
That's great. And now, talking about the dome, you not only can project the night sky, but you can project motion pictures as well?
That's correct. We have what we call a hemispheric projection system right behind us, right here. It's one of 17 in the world. It can reproduce an image on the entire dome of the planetarium. Last year we did the Star Trek Generations series of films, all 6 of them. And the dome is 33 feet in diameter, and it fills the entire dome, all the roundedness, the hemispheric shape of it, with an image. And we're the only planetarium that I know of in the world doing it. And we had a terrific turnout.
Yeah, and it sounds great. So that I could be watching, like you said, the Star Trek series, and all of a sudden there'd be Captain Kirk on the dome.
That's right. And his face could be as large as 33 feet, and you are about 15 to 20 feet away from it. I call it interactive film viewing because you literally have to move your body and watch and participate in the actual filming of it. You become part of it.
Oh, I would imagine so.
It's a very unique experience.
Now, the other thing is that you can do laser shows here as well?
Right on top of our hemispheric projection system, we have a laser system that we put in about 3 years ago. We do laser rock shows. We call it the Laser Zone. And we have Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. New program that's coming up this year is The Doors. And we'll have other new programs as we go along.
And so it really says that you can offer a lot of variety in here. Now, I noticed we also have slide projectors on the walls as well. How do you coordinate all this stuff?
Well, all the slide projectors that you might see around the room here and special effects projectors are coordinated through our automation system on the console. We 2 years ago introduced the planetarium to the computer age, and all of these systems are now coordinated through bits and cues that the computer produces. Before that, it was a little like the handbell corner fella with the monkey and the drum and the horn and so forth. And it was quite an effort to produce the show. But with the computer age, it's been a real pleasure to be able to cue everything up and to assist the computer rather than have to be the one-man show all by itself.
And now we've talked about a lot of stuff, but you're not even resting on your laurels. There's more that you're going into. What else are you going to be adding here into the planetarium?
Well, this is the space age. It's also the computer age, and we're fortunate to have access now this year to the Internet. And I think that that's going to be an exciting new feature because of all the things that are out there, the databases from NASA and other planetarium and research facilities. We can now go into those databases, pull them up on the Internet, download them to our computers, put them on the video projector, do any number of different things with them for our students as well as the public and for our public shows.
Now, one of the things is you mentioned that if I get a chair, I sponsor a chair, I get the opportunity to use the planetarium. But I know there aren't that many chairs left. Now, can an organization come in and rent the planetarium to really work with some of this equipment?
Absolutely. The planetarium is not just a science facility. It's probably one of the premier projection and multimedia facilities in all of this area. We have the ability to do laser, we have video, various kinds of video, the special effects projectors, this typical slide projectors. Now with the Internet, we have had a number of programs in here based on the Internet, and folks that are not researchers or astronomy people use the planetarium. So it's a new area that we're exploring, and we'd love to have community groups come and use our facilities.
And again, they should just call that number that we're trying to hold you to the end of the show, and we have that number up there so you can find out who to call. Now, speaking of who to call, I know we have a lot of people in our area who are interested in the stars. Do you connect with any of these local groups who come out and stargaze and watch the planets and such?
Oh, absolutely. The Stockton Astronomical Society serves as our docent group here at the planetarium. This is their home. They have their meetings here once a month. And once a month also, in addition to the regular meeting, they have a program called Valley Skies. And that's on a Friday night, usually from about 8 to 10. And they will select maybe 5 or 6 night objects, the moon or Mars or some planet or deep sky nebula, and bring their telescopes out. Public is invited to come out to look through the telescopes. If you've ever had the opportunity to never had the opportunity to look through a telescope, this is it. It's free. They'll explain what you're seeing and how to see it, and they hope that you'll become interested in astronomy and join them in some of their other programs. They have some fascinating topics.
Oh, I would imagine. And we'd also want you to stop by the planetarium because you'll be close by. Well, we're going to take a break for a couple of public service messages, and when we come back, we're going to show you some more features of the planetarium outside of this room and talk about some exciting new programs that are coming your way. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
From the past they come. Dinosaurs journey back to a primitive time when Tyrannosaurus ruled the earth. Meet prehistoric predators up close and personal, if you dare. See the fossil exhibit Footsteps Through Time at Stockton's Clever Planetarium. Call the Delta College box office for information.
As a young man, I remember looking to the heavens. And I remember how the stars shone bright in that special place, taking me on journeys only imagined. I remember. And one day I returned to that special place, beholding the stars in comfort never before dreamed. The all-new Clever Planetarium and Earth Science Center.
Welcome back to Delta College Impact. I'm Roger Waller, your host for today's program. And joining me on the tour of Clever Planetarium here on the campus of San Joaquin Delta College is Tim Cox, director of the planetarium, among Tim's many duties here at Delta College. Now, Tim, we're out here in the exhibit hall, and I see a lot of old figures. What do we have out here?
Well, this is our old bones collection. This is our fossil collection. We call it Footsteps Through Time because all of the critters that you see in this particular part of the exhibit date back millions of years. And we come up to the present day to man's place on Earth. And so over the period of time, everybody's left these impressions. We call them Footsteps Through Time.
Now, this one, if I'm not mistaken, this looks like a Deinosuchus.
You got that right. That's amazing.
I cheated. Tim told me that before we got on the air. But what's a Deinosuchus?
Well, this is the forerunner to the modern day crocodile. This guy here roamed the inland sea, the great inland sea that is now Texas, Oklahoma, the Panhandle, and so forth. The interesting part is he is 90 million years old. In his full state, he is about 60 feet long, and he is more deadly than a Tyrannosaurus rex. Today, you would not see any difference except for size, in the Deinosuchus of 90 million years ago and the crocodile that you'd find in the Florida swamps. Here's an example of a smaller scale. This particular piece is 1 million years old, and you can see that there's not a whole lot of difference. It was a good product when it was designed, and it has stayed that way over the years. It just has gotten smaller.
Yeah. So our Deinosuchus is today's crocodile at this point in time.
That's right.
Now, how many pieces do we have out here in the exhibit hall showing off dinosaurs and some of our past history?
There are approximately 100 pieces of various stages of life, from Precambrian up to modern day. We have, it starts off at the Precambrian stage, which is just basically plant life, and we go through the various points of the spectrum of time, as well bones, dinosaur bones, as well as behind us here we have a series of skulls that trace the history of man's time and place on Earth.
Now, how did we ever end up with this unbelievable collection of dinosaur history?
It was one of those flukes. We had a brochure that we circulated to a number of libraries, and someone saw one in a library in the Sacramento area, called us up and said, well, I've got a bunch of dinosaur bones and I really don't have any place to exhibit them. Are you interested? Well, it's kind of a funny call. We said, well, sure. And not knowing what we were getting into, we ended up with 600 dinosaur fossils of various sizes and qualities, and we made a home for them.
Now, we should mention, and let's go back to our million-year-old crocodile here, that these are not the actual fossils that you have here, but these are casts made of the actual fossils?
These are museum-quality casts. There aren't very many T-Rexes that have been found. There are only about 5 in the world, full-size T-Rex skulls, and we have a copy of the LA County T-Rex. It is a museum-quality copy. We could not afford to have the original here, even from an insurance point of view. But we do have a beautiful copy that continues to appreciate in value, and more than that, the children appreciate it every time they come in.
And I know that's really a key point, is that like you say, you don't find too many of these sorts of skulls available. And the Tyrannosaurus rex skull that we have is really only one of 5 that have been found in the world.
That's right.
And ours is a native Californian.
This is a native California T-Rex, and this is our Midwestern cousin.
Yeah, from Kansas. Now, one of the other things I think as people wander around the exhibit hall, they see some murals on the wall and a lot of other interesting gizmos and contraptions that you have
That's
here.
true.
What else do we have out here?
Well, the hall is home to many things. Our primary exhibit on the wall here is the Genesis Earth view of the cutaway view of the Earth's crust. People can come and see what they're standing on because it's been sculpted based on the latest science and technology. We show the underlying structure of the planet under Stockton, the Bay Area, Lake Tahoe, as well as the topographical view. So you get almost a 3-dimensional topographical view. Another exhibit we have is the Weather Center. People can see what's currently happening in the weather spectrum. They can also get a view of the geochron, which shows how the Earth is lighted by the sun at various times of the day. And it's a fascinating exhibit. We have people comment on it all the time.
And I know you also keep track of the movement of the Earth as well here?
Exactly. And that's through the geochron. It shows where the Earth, how the Earth moves through the spectrum, and then as where the sun shines on the Earth by time of day and by location.
Now, one of the things I guess that we're always thinking about is, are you adding new pieces to our collection?
Regularly we get people who come to the planetarium and say, well, I've got something that my father gave to me, and they'll bring it in and they say, would you like to exhibit it? And we've had a few pieces like that. And then the people that gave us the dinosaur exhibit contribute periodically a new piece that they have come up with.
So one of the things I guess people can think about when they come to visit here at Clever Planetarium is they not only can see the star shows, but you should spend a good period of time wandering around the halls here and checking out the different pieces. What are some of your favorite pieces here in the Great Hall?
The Great Hall, the feature of the Great Hall for children is our Tuatara, who is a direct descendant to the Jurassic and Triassic period of the dinosaur family. They're still living today in New Zealand. They're protected by the New Zealand government, and we have an actual specimen in a jar. And it's one of the few that you can see anywhere in the world.
Now, one of the other things, Tim, I've got to say that I'm so impressed with is the way you pronounce these animals and words of these dinosaurs, because I have enough trouble saying Jurassic Park, but how do you learn to do that?
Because of the exhibit, we have become quite knowledgeable in how to say many of these Latin words. But we have brochures available that are phonetically spelled so that people can take it home, read about them, and become experts themselves.
And so if I come down here, I can get a brochure and I too can pronounce it correctly?
Right.
Well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but we're going to take a walk around the exhibit here and make another stop on our tour of Clever Planetarium. We hope you're going to be part of one of the programs here at Clever Planetarium. But as you do come down and visit, we want to encourage you to stop by the gift shop, and you're going to find a lot of unique gifts here at the Clever Planetarium. One of the neat things right off the bat is how to pronounce Deinosuchus that we saw a little bit earlier. Tim, what are some of the other gifts that we have out here?
Well, the Clever Planetarium, we call it the Astro Shop, features things that are educational in nature. For instance, we have a T-shirt, and it's not like any normal T-shirt. These stars glow in the dark, and you can locate them in the heavens by at night by looking down at these stars and then looking up at the sky.
And I noticed the writing is so that you can read it when you're looking down at your T-shirt.
Exactly. They come in all sizes. For those that are trying to build their skills here, eye-hand coordination, here are models of dinosaurs with showing the bone structure and so forth. You can build it as a kit. Coloring kits and study guides on dinosaurs, and of course sky guides telling you how to look for the night sky, how to look at the night sky, and what it all means. Another example is our tornado tube, which is very popular, and you can see how a vortex works here from a side view.
And that I have that one, I might add. So one of the things that we want to think about is the nice thing is you try to price it so it's affordable as the many students come to visit the planetarium.
Prices range from 25 cents to about $3 or $4. And so there's really something there that people can learn by and have fun doing.
And the Astro Shop is open at what hours?
We're open during public shows, on weekends, and during the weekdays when we have school field trips.
And I guess if I wanted to buy something, I'll be able to call that number again and find out a little bit about the Astro Shop. Well, what we're going to be doing is starting to give you a little bit better feel about some of the upcoming programs here at Clever Planetarium. And stay tuned, we're going to show you that phone number we've been talking about, the whole program that you can call, order tickets, learn about the Astro Show, and learn about how to get your company to have a program here at the Planetarium as well. Stay tuned and watch these interesting messages.
Coming soon to Delta College's Clever Planetarium. Don't miss the hot rock and roll musical laser experience, The Laser Zone, every Friday and Saturday at 9 p.m. Treat the kids to stars in Indian folklore with early American star legends and The Sound of Water, November 10th through 19th. Dazzle your family and get into the holiday spirit with Star of Bethlehem and Holiday in Lights, December 1st through 10th. Hey, football fanatics, don't miss the Super Bowl on the biggest screen in town. Join Delta football coach Gary Scott at our Super Bowl 30 luncheon, January 28th. Delta College's own composer Max Simonchich presents live original works and guest musicians in the musical visual experience Audiosphere, February 2nd through 11th. Prepare for battle with a delightful fantasy Rainbow War and the Sky Show Follow the Drinking Gourd, February 16th through 18th. For Planetarium sponsorship, call 209-474-5051. Support your local planetarium.
We hope you've seen something interesting on that list of activities here at Clever Planetarium. I know I've seen the stars at Clever Planetarium, and we encourage you to come on down and visit the planetarium. I want to thank our special guest, Tim Cox, for giving us this special tour of the Clever Planetarium. Thanks for watching Delta College Impact, and we encourage you to watch future programs and also to come on down to the planetarium. Have a great day.